From the Dragon Ball Super superhero trailer, we saw that Broly is in fact going to be in this movie. Now how much, we don't really know yet, but I have an idea that he may be in the end to completely destroy Androids 1 and 2, a theory based on a lot of hidden elements and Easter eggs in this trailer. So let's go through and start dissecting some of these hidden elements and break down the story. You might be thinking it's impossible to tell the full story from just a trailer, but it turns out that they showed us in this trailer way more than you would actually think. Starting off with the very first image here. In this image, there's three characters, a scientist-looking guy, a superhero, and this man in a red suit. We do not see any more of this superhero, but as you can see, it looks like a picture. It looks like he's some sort of human superhero that perhaps the Doctor looks up to. And the reason I say this is because in the next picture, you can see him wearing a suit that is eerily similar to that of the superheroes. So perhaps the superhero here in this picture is actually his role model, and while I don't think that the scientist is a part of the Red Ribbon Army, I believe that they've hired and recruited him in order to make Androids 1 and 2 for the Red Ribbon Army. This is a very important scene. We see pictures on this big machine, this big screen of Goku, Vegeta, and Majin Buu, and you have to notice that they all have evil faces here. You can see Androids 1 and 2, or Gamma 1 and 2. We don't know 100% sure that they're androids at this point, but I think it's pretty obvious based on the story that I'm about to tell you. And that story is that these androids were created by this little guy from the very beginning, and they were fed information from the various Z fighters in order to create the ultimate superhero. You can see at this clip in the end, Gamma 2 is actually doing the Great Saiyaman pose, which leads me to believe that in a similar way to Cell taking cells from all of the Z fighters, these androids were programmed with all of the personalities and characteristics of all the Z fighters, or at the very least the characteristics of superheroes, and the Great Saiyaman perhaps was one of the ones that they were fed this information on. Now I think it's everyone, because if you take another look at this same scene, you can see here the pod that Gamma 1 came out of. You see all these tubes linked up to it while the images of the different characters are being shown on screen. So it leads you to believe that all of the data on these different characters and perhaps their abilities has been fed into these capsules, which are also very similar to where other androids have come out, like 16, 17, and 18. So it appears to me that they're going to be somewhat like Cell. You can even see Mr. Satan here on this image in particular, so maybe they're feeding his martial arts techniques and everything like that, as well as these different cam modules. If you remember, Dr. Gero had a little spy robot that was observing all of the fights with Goku and taking the cells of all of the Z fighters. So perhaps they have little camera technology, little spy robots flying around, observing all of these characters, collecting data on them. The only thing is that the Red Ribbon Army's data is severely outdated. You would think that maybe they only had data up to the invasion of Frieza on Earth because Vegeta is wearing his pink bad man shirt, but then they show Majin Buu, so that's not necessarily the case. It's safe to assume they don't have any information on the Tournament of Power or Ultra Instinct. But Broly did fight on Earth, so maybe they have information on Broly, but I don't really get the sense that they do, which is why I think there's a possibility that Broly may end up going up against Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 in the end, if they're somehow able to beat Goku and Vegeta, or Goku and Vegeta don't fight them, because I believe at this point Goku and Vegeta are way too strong for some new androids, but who knows how they're going to write it. But in the case that they somehow do have all of the data on Goku and Vegeta and they just simply can't beat Gamma 1 and Gamma 2, if Broly enters the fray with insurmountable power and they have no data on him, he could probably rip apart these two androids like they're nothing. In this one image, we see Gamma 2 appearing to attack Piccolo, and it appears that Piccolo isn't really having a tough time. He notices the blast coming his way, but then there's this image of Piccolo who looks severely shocked. So something's going to happen, or they're going to say something that is going to shock the living crap out of Piccolo. My guess is that he's going to use something like the Makanko Sapo or one of the Z Fighter techniques. We've seen how Piccolo acted when Cell started using the other Z Fighter techniques could be like that. And perhaps he loses. Typically, if a character gets shocked like that, they're gonna lose in the Dragon Ball Z tropiness. So even if Piccolo has a really good fight with Gamma 2 and ends up losing, he's still nothing compared to Broly. And I think when Broly steps up to the plate in the end of the movie, he will stomp and smash these androids into pieces. And I think that would be actually very exciting. To see Broly come in and take out the enemy would make the fandom go crazy. And it does have some connective tissue to the Broly movie by bringing him back. I'm starting to believe that the movies and the anime may somewhat be two different continuities, considering the manga has not reintroduced Broly and the movies have not revealed Ultra Instinct. And the reason for this may be that Toei doesn't want to spoil the movie-only fans with Ultra Instinct or Vegeta's alter ego, which is only in the manga. Now, recently, the official Japanese Dragon Ball Super Twitter account posted something very interesting. The special PV had been watched around the world. The next PV will be full of power and reveal the secret of the Red Ribbon Army. So Jump Festa is coming up here in December, and I believe we're going to get the second trailer right there, which says it will be full of power. So a lot more action, and we may get to see Broly fighting Goku, Vegeta, or other characters potentially fighting Gamma 1 and Gamma 2. Now, what is the secret of the Red Ribbon Army? I believe the secret, as revealed here in this video, is that these new androids are built together from data collected from all of the Z fighters on Earth. And additionally, whenever there is two of a character that's introduced that look identical, you can bet that they're probably going to fuse at some point. I believe Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 will eventually fuse in the end of the movie to create a new super powerful being. Maybe that's when Broly comes in, or maybe we'll see Gogeta again, but I doubt it. If they bring Gogeta in to be the victor of every single movie, I think that's really gonna let down fans. But you know what wouldn't let down fans? Having an enemy fusion against Broly and Broly just goes completely insane and destroys it. That would get fans hyped up. So to summarize, I believe that we're basically going to get a retelling of Dragon Ball Z Movie 7 with the 3 new androids that were introduced. And if you remember, Dr. Gero's computer was analyzing Goku's combat abilities as they were fighting, giving Android 13 the upper hand as the battle progressed. And you can see a similar looking computer here in this video, which seems to be collecting data using all of these camera technology, which will most likely help Androids 1 and 2 or Gamma 1 and 2 to succeed in their battles with various opponents. And you gotta remember, in Dragon Ball Z Movie 7, the androids eventually fused into one Super Android 13. So with Gamma 1 and Gamma 2, I think there's a huge possibility we could get another fusion there. But instead of a Genki Dama ending the villain this time, I think we might get Broly. It could be a Genki Dama, but these androids do not seem evil. It seems like they're programmed with the sense of the heroes. It seems like they're programmed to think that they're superheroes and based off of this little scientist role model superhero. So they probably think that they're doing justice. They were fed all these images of evil looking Goku and evil Vegeta. And if this is the case, if they're fighting on the side of justice, a Genki Dama probably isn't the thing that's going to destroy them. More so, they'd probably need brute power from an enemy that they don't have any data on. And that's why I think it's Broly. As far as where Pan fits into all of this, she may end up fighting them pretty early on. It seems like Piccolo or someone is training her, and she may even have the power to go Super Saiyan at the earliest age a Saiyan ever has. I believe she's about 3 years old or maybe 4 years old here in this movie. So I don't think that the superhero really has anything to do with Pan in this movie. It's not her wanting to become a superhero. It really has everything to do with this little doctor guy and how he looks up to his role model, this superhero, and how he's programmed androids 1 and 2 to resemble the ideology of a superhero, and how androids 1 and 2 think that they're superheroes and that in taking out the Z fighters, they are doing justice for the world. That is why it's called Dragon Ball Super Superhero. I'm Mastar. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up and comment down below on what you think about this theory. I'm Mastar, and as we get more information and new trailers, obviously I'll be making videos on that. So make sure you're subscribed with those notification bells enabled.